process. Lori will provide us a list of the current short-term rentals in operation. We'll send a letter out and they'll have 90 days to come in and register. They'll be assigned a registration number that will also identify them on any platform that they market their property. So that's where we are with it right now. There's probably more to it, but we're off and running with it with this approval.
Great. Yes, sir.
What happens if they don't come in and register? What is the outcome?
They'll be sent a notice that they're in violation and they need to register. So the registration process gives us a working list. And if Lori identifies properties, we're going to rely on Lori a lot for this, for telling us properties that are operating and not registered. We will send notice, and if they don't come register, then we'll shut them down, is what will happen eventually.
You're asking where's the teeth? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Fines are authorized under this at the final section, and those fines, if go unpaid, would be levied against the property and would be a lien that would be filed on the property.
Anywhere from $100 to $500. I think they start at 100 and can go up
Each
to a max of
violation.
500.
That's
for
correct.
each violation that the mayor has had each time.
That's right.
I had just a couple questions,
Yes,
or
Commissioner
folks
Cole.
that had called, and I think I know the answer to this, but I just want to state it for the record, I guess. But in terms of people that own like big apartment complexes, we're not really changing any of the way that they do business. Is that correct? This is short-term rentals like Airbnb, VRBO, those type things. So big apartment complexes are going to operate under city ordinances just like they always have,
The
correct?
guidelines of the ordinance are short-term rentals, 30 days or less.
Correct. Okay, thank
So an
you.
apartment complex is obviously a year
Right.
As
lease.
such.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Any other discussion? Appreciate that. There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Mayor Blythe?
Yes, thank you. Ordinance 24-03, an ordinance of the City of Richmond, Kentucky annexing property into the city boundaries and assigning zone classification for .45 acres of lane. Would that be land?
Land.
Okay. I thought it maybe was a street called Lane.
No.
Acres of land at 2038 and 2040 Irvin Road. Mr. Attorney, please.
Whereas Paul and Bobby Taylor, the owners of the property described below, have consented to the voluntary annexation into city limits of the said tract. Whereas the property in question is contiguous to the city's boundaries and is urban in character and is suitable for further development for urban purposes. And whereas the Richmond Planning and Zoning Commission on November 15th, 2023 conducted a public hearing so as to be able to make the recommendation to the Board of Commissioners as to the appropriate zoning classification to be assigned to the property should it be annexed. Whereas at the conclusion of the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning Commission adopted the findings of fact attached to this ordinance here incorporated in full, and to recommend that the property, if annexed, be assigned a zoning classification for a total of .45 acres as R1C single family. And whereas the Board of Commissioners finds it to be in the public interest that the property in question be annexed into the city's boundaries and is given the R1C zoning classification. Now, therefore, be it ordained that, Section 1, in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 81A of the Kentucky Revised Statutes, the City of Richmond, Kentucky does hereby express its intent to annex into the city limits those certain tracts of property more particularly described as follows: 2038 and 2040 Irvin Road, total .45 acres plus or minus, to be found in Deed Book 770, page 26. The property is hereby annexed into the city boundaries in accordance with the findings of fact and recommendations of the Richmond Planning and Zoning Commission, which findings of fact the board does adopt as its findings. The property shall be and hereby is zoned for a total of .45 acres as R1C single family. The Department of Planning and Zoning and the GIS Department shall make the appropriate changes to the city's official map, and the city clerk shall forward this ordinance together with other necessary documentation to the appropriate state and local authorities. This ordinance shall be effective immediately upon adoption, following second reading and publication in accordance with the provisions of applicable Kentucky law.
Thank you, sir. That's ordinance 24-03. This is, again, a second reading. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for discussion and approval?
So moved.
Commissioner Cole,
Second.
Commissioner Goble. Is there any discussion? Mr. City Manager, anything further we need to discuss? Mr. Attorney? I think that's pretty straightforward and driven by a couple of times. It's logical, certainly, that property would be. No further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Mayor Blight?
Yes, thank you. Resolution 24-01, resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, supporting Eastern Kentucky University's proposal to offer osteopathic medical degrees. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the Kentucky citizens suffer a lack of access to physicians, and whereas according to the 2022 physician report published by the Kentucky Office for Rural Health, the number of physicians in Kentucky decreased by 590 between 2019 and 2022. And whereas using primary care as an example, to the Robert Graham Center states that in order for Kentucky to maintain its status quo in primary care, that the state will require 415 primary care physicians by 2030, or a 15% increase. And whereas the shortage of physicians also impact economics of local communities and the state as a whole. And whereas according to the recent American Medical Association study, physicians support 94,000 jobs in Kentucky and generate state and local revenue of $557 million and have a total of $15 million in economic activity, with each one having an economic impact of $1.9 million. Now therefore be resolved by the City of Richmond supports the Eastern Kentucky University proposal to offer the Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine degrees for professional practice and licensure in medicine.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's resolution 24-01. May we have a motion, please, to bring to the floor for discussion and adoption?
So moved.
Commissioner Brewer,
Second.
Commissioner Newby. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, I would
Yes,
just
sir.
say it's encouraging to see Eastern Kentucky University implement education programming where the demand is. I
Yes.
mean, manufacturing engineering, that's one that's off and running, and now to add this to it is just great.
I can see the, what's the term, Tammy, trickle down. I can see
Yes.
the rising tide lifting all boats
Yep.
with a move like this.
We had the privilege on Tuesday of being in the session where they actually, in the Education Committee meeting at 8 a.m., to hear President McFadden, and Greg Gerard was there as well, to present. And that was, it was very exciting, just to hear of, you know, the University of Louisville and the University of Kentucky they have more applicants than they know what to do with. So there are people interested in going into it, they just can't get in. So this would give one more avenue in Kentucky to hopefully service Eastern Kentucky, because that's where so much of the need is.
Thank you.
But
Thank
it was
you.
awesome.
Yeah. Further discussion? It will be interesting to see, as the second whereas alludes to, it'll be interesting to see what the history writers say about that period, 2019 to 2022.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know yet what, in retrospect, it's going to look like. And, but we're seeing the effects every day. Any further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Mayor Blight?
Yes, thank you. Order 24-15. Order of the Board of Commissioners approving a change order for the Madison Hall of Justice Building Renovation Project.
Whereas the
Clerk,
city is
please.
finalizing construction of the facility known as the Madison Hall of Justice, a facility which houses the Madison District Court and the administrative offices, contracted with GRW Engineers, Inc., which has recommended a change order in order to move forward, and whereas the City Commission has reviewed the agreement and made a recommendation to move forward. Now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners authorizes the change orders for the Madison Hall of Justice between the City of Richmond and Omni Commercial. Task Order 15, stair treads and risers, $2,000. Task Order 16, box headers and widen of soffit, $3,000. Task Order 17, extend concrete wall for gate, $1,000. Task Order 18, curb replacement, $14,000. The mayor is hereby authorized to same on behalf of the city. This order shall be effective immediately upon adoption by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's order 24-15. May we have a motion, please, bring the floor for discussion and approval?
I move.
Commissioner Newby,
Second.
Commissioner Brewer, is there any discussion? Anything, Mr. Manager? think
I would just say
discuss
these,
these
this,
along the
this
way.
project should be wrapped up mid-March, and these are just miscellaneous items that are part of finishing it, so we're getting closer.
Thank you, sir. Nothing further? Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Order 24-16, order of the City of Richmond accepting an early resignation by a board member of the Richmond Ethics Board. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas Brooke Bowman Mitchell on the Richmond Ethics Board has submitted her early resignation on the board, now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners accepts the resignation from Brooke Bowman Mitchell on the Richmond Ethics Board effective immediately. The City of Richmond would like to thank Ms. Mitchell for her dedication and service to the board since 2008. This order shall become effective immediately upon adoption by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's order 24-16. May we have a motion, please, bring the floor for discussion and approval?
So moved.
Commissioner Brewer,
Second.
Commissioner Goble, is there any discussion?
Is that two we've had off in the last month? Leave the ethics board? She's been there quite some time. I'm just curious why she's gone, why she wanted to leave. I think I'll
I'm
call
sorry,
her
I
and
can
ask
tell
her.
you, but right now, it escapes me, but I'll go back and review
Yeah.
what's left back in here. It's in there somewhere. There was a pretty valid reason why.
Okay.
Certainly appreciated that she was willing to
Yes.
serve. Any further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Order 24-17, order of the City of Richmond amending a job description for the fire department. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the City of Richmond has adopted job descriptions for the employees, and whereas after review, it has been determined that this position needs an amended pay scale to better reflect the description. Now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the following job description and pay grade for the City of Richmond is hereby adopted. Fire Department, the Fire Training Officer, going from a pay grade 4 to a 5. The attached job description shall be made a part of the city's job descriptions and incorporated into their departmental structure. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's order 24-17. May we have a motion, please? Bring the floor for discussion and approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Cole,
Second.
Commissioner Brewer, is there any discussion?
Currently, Mayor, this isn't a position, or this isn't a change where the pay would be increased. This is more of a chain of command change in pay scale. So the current training officer, Jessica Moody, is the same pay grade as the people she's training. So to keep in line with the chain of command for the fire department, we moved her up to this grade. So
Thank
that
you,
it
sir.
follows the chain of command, and Jim would know more about this
Were
than
you
probably all of us.
reading my mind? I was going to cast some piercing glances back in the corner. Thank you,
Okay.
yeah. Further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Order 24-18, order of the City of Richmond reappointing a member to the Codes Enforcement Board. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the term for John Wright on the Codes Enforcement Board expired January 12th, and whereas this citizen is interested in continuing to serve on the board and has made a commitment to attend all meetings, now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that John Wright is reappointed to the Codes Enforcement Board for a term of 3 years, expiring 2027. This order shall become effective immediately upon passage by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's order 24-18. May we have a motion, please, to bring the floor for discussion and approval?
So moved.
Commissioner Cole, Commissioner Brewer. Let me just mention one thing here. I've spoken to Mr. Wright and also one or two other members of that board he has been serving as chair, and they were quite pleased with the way he's led that board. So I had no reservations here. A couple of things occurred over the past term that caused me concern. I'll say that very openly. But his chairing of the board, I think, has been appropriate. That's a tough one.
It is. That's what I wanted to say. I just so much appreciate John and the other members of the Codes Enforcement Board. I know all of our boards have a lot of responsibilities and issues to deal with, but, you know, codes can get very technical and very complicated, and a lot of puzzle pieces that go into that. So I just want to recognize them and thank them, because these are our citizens that put in a lot of time to helping the city to manage code. So thanks to John and others that are willing to step up and help represent the city of Richmond.
I'm sure all of those who are impacted by their determinations from that board are not pleased with what they determined.
Yes.
So for their
Yes.
Well,
willingness, thank you, Commissioner Cole.
Mayor,
Yeah.
let's see, Jim, you put him on the board in 2016, right? You and Jason Morgan, I think, made the motion, then he's been updated. I mean, I saw that thing about a resume for him. I think his resume speaks for himself. He's been there since 2016. They took a leap and a step forward in bringing John on that board. So-
Oh, absolutely. And the request for a resume it didn't get included in the packet. So the request for a resume was just to document his credentials and get that in there. Great resume, great credentials,
So
so,
that we can give the place.
yes,
Well, we got other board
Yes.
members that
having
are
that
gonna.
for all.
correct.
Yes.
That's my hope, is that when we do appointments, we can just all have the ability to see that resume and
Well, we got
review it
Robert
ahead of time.
Lockard and Velmar Miller coming up. Do we need to,
Utilities.
on the utilities board, do we need to get that for them too?
Just a
I mean, I
quick
think
comment, a quick question here, Commissioner Cole, in light of what he's asked. For all appointees, including re-appointees,
Well, what's hard is where I'm new to the commission, like even though you all probably may know a person for 30 years, I may have never met them. So if I can just get copies of the resume, it makes me feel much better ethically, just in terms of reviewing that information and being able to vote intelligently. So yes,
I
thank
tell you what, let me say this, I mean, we could take, 8 hours a day, 3 days out of a week and go over all of our board members and bring it to light and interview them why they were on this board and what they've done. But I want to make sure that we understand that their appointments have 3 people that kind of put them in there, the city clerk, the city manager, and the mayor, overview those applications for board appointees and bring them to us. And if we have to, I think if you want to send out a message to them, tell them we need a resume on all of them, then just send it to every board member and then have them email that to us or to City Hall, and we'll come get it.
Let me give you a little history on the Codes Enforcement Board, because Lisa and I were talking about this earlier this week, and, you know, you think that the Codes Enforcement Board has been around forever. Well, it hasn't. It wasn't established until 2004. Never really met or did any enforcement until 2014, and really only met a couple times between 2014 and 2016. John Wright was appointed in 2016 to that board, and since then, the city has made huge progress in codes enforcement. Now, when we say codes enforcement, that's not building codes. That's nuisance enforcement is what it comes down to. So We've made great strides with that. And just a clarification, when it comes to board appointments, that's the mayor's purview of who that appointment recommendation is. So if the board has somebody in mind they want to recommend, that goes to the mayor. Lisa and I just facilitate the process. We don't make those recommendations, just to clarify that.
Thank you, sir, thank you. But as I said, that board does have a great challenge, and appreciate the work that they're willing to do. Let's see, we need to do the vote. All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Mayor Blythe?
Yes, thank you. Order 24-19, an order of the City of Richmond awarding a bid for the turn lane installation project on Tates Creek Road. Mr. City Manager, please.
Whereas due to increased development in the area on Tates Creek Road between Keeneland Drive and Goggins Lane, the city of Richmond and the adjacent subdivision developer have agreed to share the cost for widening the road and installing 3 new turn lanes. And whereas bid specs were advertised and one bid was submitted, and whereas the bid has been reviewed by the city and the developer, and a recommendation has been made to accept the bid, now therefore be ordered by the Richmond Board of Commissioners that the bid for the Tates Creek Road Widening and Turn Lanes project is awarded to the Allen Company Incorporated of Lexington, Kentucky in the amount of $934,430. Funding for the project will be allocated as followed. City of Richmond Parks Capital Projects, $275,498. Adjacent subdivision developer, $658,931. The bid is attached to the order. The mayor is hereby authorized to sign the contract with said company. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. This is order 24-19. May we have a motion, please bring to the floor for discussion and approval.
I move.
Commissioner Newby,
Second.
Commissioner Goble, is there any discussion?
Well, it's going to be much needed.
Yes.
I mean, much needed. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, signs of growth and progress. No further discussion? Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Mayor Blythe?
Yes, thank you. Order 24-20, an order of the City of Richmond, Kentucky entering into a contract with Safe Haven Baby Boxes. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the Pregnancy Help Center of Richmond, Kentucky and the City of Richmond have partnered to purchase and install a Safe Haven Baby Box at the Richmond Fire Station Number 1. And whereas the Safe Haven Baby Boxes, Inc. has requested that the City of Richmond enter into a lease and service agreement for the device. Now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners enters into a contract with Safe Haven Baby Boxes, Inc. of Indiana, a nonprofit corporation. The terms and obligations of the device are outlined in the attached lease and service agreement. The mayor is hereby authorized to sign any and all documents relating to this partnership. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's order 24-20. May we have a motion, please, bring the floor for discussion and approval.
I move.
Second.
All right, motion, Commissioner Newby, second, Commissioner Brewer. Is there any discussion? I think we're pretty much of one mind here and excited about moving forward.
Yes.
Cooperation of the department and so on, at such a time as this.
Yes.
Hope it's never used, but it's a
Hope
good
it's never
thing.
used. There was a news item a few days ago on one of the morning talk shows about a baby, a little child who's now about 3 or 4 years old, who was placed in a community's baby box and then was subsequently adopted by a family and is just doing tremendously well.
Wow.
So hopefully Richmond will have along the way.
Mayor, if I
opportunity to
may,
have a
I'll just
story like that.
kind
Yes,
of give
sir.
you an update. The device actually, or the box actually is about $15,000. There is an option for it to be $15,500, I think, with a wireless camera, which will probably take that option. We do have a donor through the Pregnancy Help Center that is paying that cost, an anonymous donor. So this agreement that you'll be authorized to sign is a lease agreement for the device, and there's an annual fee and a renewal fee, each of $500 a year. So just so you know what we're getting into.
Thank you, sir. We find that in section 4 of that agreement.
And that's
Yes.
going to go in Fire Station 1, right? Our
That's
main fire
correct.
station here.
Yeah, Tim's already working with the contractor on the cost to, there's a door on the front of the building, not the big bay doors, to the right of it. A glass door that never gets used, so we'll install the box there and brick that in, is kind of the plan.
Any further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Mayor Blige?
Yes, thank you. Order 24-21, order of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, changing hours of opening for licenses under ordinance 21 and 22 for St. Patrick's Day. Madam Clerk,
Where
please.
certain licensees under ordinance number 21-22 have requested extended hours of opening for special occasion, and whereas ordinance number 21-22 provides for such extensions. Now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners pursuant to ordinance 21-22 codified in chapter 117.18, operations of licensed establishments of the City of Richmond. Licensees under that ordinance are permitted to open early at 9 a.m. on the following date: March 17, 2024, Sunday, St. Patrick's Day. This order shall become effective immediately upon passage by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's order 24-21. May we have a motion, please? Bring the floor for discussion and approval.
So moved.
Commissioner Cole,
Second.
Commissioner Brewer, is there any discussion?
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, sir, please.
I just want to point out that we've done this in the past for special events on Sundays, and this was a request from downtown restaurant owner, so they can have a St. Patrick's Day brunch and celebration, so.
Now, is this for several, I mean, or is it a business or just,
Any restaurant that
Restaurant.
serves alcohol can, instead of serving at 11 on Sunday, can serve at 9 a.m.
okay.
And it's just for that day, right?
That's
I
correct.
see Mr. Fields out there. Did you come to object? Did you come to object? Well, usually somebody comes, they go, I don't think so. I'm like, well,
Well, since you called him out, Commissioner Newby, I'm going to let you know that he's the one
That
that
didn't
came
come
up
from
with
me,
the idea.
okay?
He was the one that came to me with the idea, so
And logically
I
so,
think
when
it's
we've
a
done
good
this, as
idea.
Commissioner said.
we appreciate his investment in our downtown and the business he does.
Yes. You realize you asked for it.
Just
Thank you.
asking for
Thank
the
you
luck
for
of the
being here, too.
Irish.
Any further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
yes.
Mayor Blige?
Yes, thank you. Order 24-22, an order of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, authorizing the city to apply for grant funds from the Kentucky Economic Development Finance Authority. Madam Clerk, please.
Whereas the city is in need of large acreage industrial property to hire and entice large industry offerings, high wages, employment to the city of Richmond. And whereas the city has taken initial steps to gain control land suitable for industrial development with two purchase options currently in place that compose of approximately 1,000 acres of property and has the acreage, location, and sufficient infrastructure, and the ideal for a large mega site development. And whereas during the option process, the city is completing due diligence studies and reports that yield necessary information prior to the land transaction that facilitate planned development. The city needs additional financial assistance towards this due diligence work because the large acreage involved and degree and complexity associated with the applicable studies and surveys. And whereas the city of Richmond has an opportunity to apply for grant funding from the Kentucky Economic Development Finance Authority. This grant funding, if awarded, can be used towards due diligent expenses involved in preparing for possible future land transaction. We are aware that a large mega sites which are ready for industrial development are in high demand. Therefore, be described that the city submit a grant application to the KEDFA for a particular set forth below. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of the City of Richmond deems it to be in the public interest that the city submit an application for the funding to obtain financial assistance towards those expenses being incurred with due diligence work on the option property as to induce a large business to locate and to create jobs within the Richmond community. Now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that Richmond submit an application to the Kentucky Economic Development Finance Authority for grant funding to be used towards those expenses being incurred with due diligence works on the option property. This order shall be in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This is an order 24-22. May we have a motion, please bring to the floor for discussion and approval?
So move.
Commissioner Brewer,
Second.
Commissioner Goble, is there any discussion?
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, sir, please.
First of all, I want to thank David Stipes for his hard work on this application. And I want to emphasize the partnership we have right now with East Kentucky Power and the Cabinet for Economic Development on this 1,000 acres plus on Duncannon Lane and Exit 83. This grant application will be for $200,000 and will help us in the engineering fees that are a part of that project. I think it's important to understand that putting 1,000 acres together for a mega site is very hard to do. I know some counties to the south of us are attempting to do this, and they're running into 30 different ownerships of property.
Yeah.
So make no mistake, the property we have on Exit 83 right now is the primary mega site property in the state of Kentucky.
State of Kentucky.
It's a golden egg.
It is, and so the cabinet sent us down this road to apply for this. We feel like we'll get the funding, and this stuff doesn't happen overnight. You've got to have all your due diligence, your engineering, your ecological mitigation, your stream mitigation, and everything in order, everything cleaned up for an industry to land. We have serious interest in the property. And David told me today he just received another RFI to fill out for the property. So this is just another piece of the puzzle.
Good sign.
Yep.
Now, we still have site preparation and, what's the word I'm looking for, to make sure that the assessment of the property is able to be built on and.
That's what this funding is for. It's for all the engineering mitigation and doesn't actually cover making the site build ready, but it
Yeah.
does everything else involved.
It'll take millions eventually.
Yes.
And I just feel like it's so important because of the urgency with the procedures starting out at the Bluegrass Army Depot for closing procedures. And some of those folks are actually, really close to being laid off or whatever the word the Army's using. But gosh, we really want to keep those people here in our community if we can. And so being able to apply for grant funds and do everything that we can to have employment opportunities, I just would love for as many of those individuals to stay here as possible.
I will tell you, Commissioner Cole, over 2 years ago, the federal government awarded a grant for a feasibility study to look at the impact of when the Army Depot decommissioned completely. I attended a couple of those meetings, but it was clear to me what we needed to do. And Tyler Frazier, myself, and David Stipes have worked very hard on this over the past 2 years to position this property where it is. So we are ahead of the curve on this compared to other counties and cities. And again, I want to emphasize this stuff just doesn't happen overnight. It takes years to secure options, understand what you need in engineering, in mitigation, and then really assess the cost of utilities. East Kentucky Power has been a huge partner in this. They're spending between 82 and $100 million on the
Yes.
electrical upgrade for this site. That's not small change. That's getting into a ton of money. And the property itself is worth between 75 and $100 million.
Now.
That's just getting the property ready and not the industry going there, so.
You know, we've heard for the last 4 or 5 years that this is to Commissioner Cole, is that we gotta do something to prepare for jobs when the depot
That's
is
right.
closed. And I think this is right in the direction we need to move and keep those people here in Madison County and the city of Richmond and provide jobs for them. And plus, what that does, it spreads out. It makes
Yeah.
other smaller, mom and pop stores and gas stations and doctor's office, all those things will come to bear if we do this mega site and it turns out the way we hope it does.
That's really where you benefit from the economic impact, because what people don't realize, if a large industry was to land there and take the full 1,000 acres, they're probably gonna get occupational tax abatement for 15 years. They're
Yeah.
probably gonna get property tax abatement for another
But
20
not
years.
net profit.
So you're gonna get just net profit, but where you benefit is from all the businesses and professions that open around it. That's the key to it. And the other piece of this is, we've got a PDI site that's 20-plus acres, build-ready. We're working on another 40-acre site that will be build-ready. And Thunder Tool has a 40-acre build-ready site. So if something lands, those will go quick, so.
Are
I'm
the
excited
pads
about
down
it.
on those, on one of them?
Do what?
Are the pads down,
The pa-
concrete
it,
pads?
it's just graded to be
Okay.
pad-ready.
Okay.
That's the 20-acre site. And the
Yeah.
40-acre site, they just awarded the bid for it, so.
I feel like if you think about the state of Kentucky, that Richmond is uniquely positioned right now because we have both things. We have the industrial land that we're preparing and getting ready, and we also have the workforce. So many communities don't have any folks that are going to be looking for jobs. So for us to have both of those puzzle pieces uniquely positions us.
There's a third piece too, which is quality of life, which is
Yes.
very important. And with our education system on post-secondary and pre-education, and then the park system we have, we hear this time and time again from visitors. The new park, everybody's excited about, but the existing park system we have with the water park, the golf course, and the facilities, you know, Richmond was ahead of the curve 30 years ago when they did that park, and now we're ahead of the curve again on the second park. So everything's there, we just gotta catch the right fish.
Well, if you've been here in Richmond one day, or you've lived here all your life, you came here for a purpose or a reason. And I think it's the quality of life, I think it's our public safety, I think it's the school systems, I think it's the things that we provide for the public that this commission can do that will entice people to come here and live and
Yeah.
give them jobs and give them an opportunity to raise their families.
Yeah.
So,
Lori does a good job telling our story with the history and tourism, and she'll probably do that here in a minute, so that's great.
oh, yeah. And I sent her a message. I was at Eastern's game last night, and we're gonna work on that today to find out some information on that. So I need to talk to her after that.
But we'll keep you posted on the award of the grant. We expect in the next 30 days.
Order 24-22 is on its passage. I've never said that, have I? It's on its passage. Any further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes,
Mayor Blythe?
Yes, thank you. Order 24-23, an order of the City of Richmond confirming an employee status change for the Tourism Department.
Where the tourism department is in need of a full-time social media manager, and whereas there's an employee within the department that currently meets those requirements and has requested to be reclassified within that department. And whereas the tourism department has budgeted for this adjustment, now therefore be it ordered by the City of Richmond Board of Commissioners that the following employee is hereby changed their employment status from seasonal to full-time as social media manager for the tourism department effective February 29th. Pay grade 4, Stacy Tate. She is an at-will employee and will serve a 1-year probationary period. This order is in full force and effect upon reading and adoption by the Richmond City Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's order 24-23. May we have a motion, please, bring the floor for discussion and approval?
So moved.
Commissioner Cole?
Second.
Commissioner Brewer? Is there any discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Mayor Blythe?
Yes, thank you. This is the public comments period. Is anyone in the chambers today to make comments before the commission? Anyone from the public? Madam Clerk, anyone through the office?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. One departmental report scheduled for today, that's from tourism. Lori, welcome again.
I heard you did a good job the other day. Got some people interested in building.
Yeah. Lori, by the way, have you told the folks in this meeting about your new position with the state?
I don't think
I
she
think you
has
did at the
yet.
board, but I don't think this group.
Well, if not, I am the president of the Kentucky Association of Convention and Visitors Bureaus this year. That is an association that's made up of tourism directors from across the state of Kentucky. It is a 5-year commitment. I served previously as a secretary. And an exciting thing for us is we are going to get to host all of those folks in September. We will have about between 40 and 50 of those directors here in September, and we'll get to show off our great city. Well, I won't keep you all very long because you know I like to tell stories, but I will keep this quick and to the point. What you have in your hands, you have a visitor guide. We're going to talk about that visitor guide for a second. Every year, we do a visitor guide. And that is what is at the rest areas. That's what you see in other tourism offices, and that's what you see in our office. It's our little teaser magazine. And on the cover there, you see Take a Joyride to Richmond. And that is a campaign that we're doing with the Bluegrass region. We received a $1 million grant from state tourism through ARPA funds to do a regional project. It is 16 counties in and around Lexington, and we are focusing on the old-fashioned, get in your car, take a joyride. Just get in your car, not know where you're going, and experience life. It has been a wonderful campaign thus far. Mike Wolf with American Pickers has been a star of one of the commercials that we've done. And being able to partner with Lexington and our other surrounding cities has just been wonderful. And for the $1 million grant, Richmond's investment was only $6,000. So it is a win-win for us. But we are doubling down on our marketing because there's going to be so much directed towards this project. We also received ARPA funding from state tourism. So we're going to be doing a huge digital campaign. And one of our campaigns is You're Halfway There. So as you know, most of our visitors are from the northern states, and they are traveling to Florida. So we're going to be doing a campaign called You're Halfway There, Stop in Richmond. We see so many of great folks coming down I-75, and they're looking for that great spot to stay in. And as you know, Richmond has wonderful visitation, and we have so many great hotel partners. We see a lot of folks wanting to stay in Richmond. And we're going to be doing some photography with old cars as part of the Joyride campaign, and I will be looking for models. You never know where you may end up being a model. Our city attorney can tell you that that happened to him one day, and he's going to be starring in a...
I'm single and I'm out there.
Well, we could do a Richmond's for Lovers campaign. That's no problem. But we will be having a, has anybody watched KET a lot? Have you seen the show called Downstream?
I think so.
And it's called Liquid Kentucky. And what you do is you have these folks come in and you talk about your spirits, and your natural beauty, your waterways. But we will be having that film later this year. Features Dreaming Creek, Chenault Vineyards, Lake Reba. It'll be a really great show. And you may or may not see a lovely dark-haired gentleman in one of those shows.
Lovely.
Nominate-
Wow, I'll be looking.
Right there.
But those are just some of the things that we're doing, and something that the city manager always keeps this in his phone, and he always uses these numbers. But the state of Kentucky does their economic impact. So for 2022, they take the whole year to look at everything. How much tourism spending in the millions did Madison County see? Give me a guess.
Everything.
5?
To us,
Yep. How much money do people spend in this county? 10, 15, 20, 30, 40. $213.4 million in Madison County in tourism spending,
That's amazing.
which is amazing. We are in the top 10 of tourism expenditures for the whole state. We were up 9.1% from the previous year before.
Wow.
You know, a lot of that is the pent-up demand of people wanting to travel, they're wanting to get out and see things. But I think that's something a lot of times that you don't think about. And I know as somebody that grew up in Richmond, I didn't think about travelers being here and spending that type of money in Richmond. Over 1,700 jobs in Madison County are directly related to tourism. So it's definitely a great industry and a great economic driver for our
Lori, where do
city.
we rank against Somerset, Pulaski County? Do you know?
I think we are 8, and I think they're somewhere in the 20s or 30s.
I just had to point that out because I
Because
hear
of
all
the
the time,
expenditures.
we need to look at what Somerset's doing and Pulaski County's doing, and they're doing a great job, don't get me wrong, but they have a huge lake.
Yes.
And so we're outperforming them without a lake.
Well, we, and our friends in Somerset do an impeccable job. It's 2 different type markets.
That's right.
I-75 is, an absolute blessing to us. And Eastern Kentucky University, and having all of those folks traveling and visiting there, it's just a wonderful thing for us. But tourism is great. I encourage all of you all, if you want to come by our office and just hang out with us sometimes. It's the favorite part of my job, is being able to meet somebody brand new to our city and get to tell them the story about us. I meant to bring it with me, but forgot, but we keep a sign-in book, and you just read through the comments of what people have to say, and they're lovely, lovely comments. But you all will be getting a year-end report from me probably next week. It goes into more detail. But my main reason for being here today is this publication right here, Footprints. And when you look at this, I want you all, you're going to hear about it tonight if you're able to come. There'll be a presentation from the Madison County Historical Society. But in 1998, my former boss, Marty Miller, received a grant for an African American Heritage Guide. Mayor Blythe was on that committee that worked on that wonderful 30-page publication. Throughout the years, we have wanted to redo that, and we have tried to do some things on our own, but Sharon Graves, who is employed by the city but works in our office, is just an absolute jewel to us. And she said, this is something I'm going to help you with. I'm going to help you get a group together of folks that want to work on this and do this. 15 members of our community have worked for over a year compiling all of this information. And what they did with our connections book, it just basically told you little blurbs, little stories. But what they have done is they have made a walking tour of all of the African-American owned businesses that were in our community. And they have told the stories of the people that owned those, school teachers, doctors, anything that you can imagine. And it has been an absolute wonderful learning experience, not only for myself, but my interns. They have been helping immensely with editing and figuring out everything about this. But several years ago, I spoke at Madison Central High School, and there was a history class that we had to pick local characters to write something about. And there was a young man there, and I told the story of Monk Estel. He had no idea. And he said, well, thank you. I didn't necessarily want to write about Daniel Boone. I wanted to write about somebody that had more of a connection to me. And this is a challenge that Mayor Blythe has given us. We've even have more discussions. This is just the start of what you're going to see. But all the people's names are in the back of the book, and I won't steal their thunder, but it's going to be a wonderful presentation tonight. Dr. Gillum is going to come. These are going to be at all of our schools. And there's going to be a Madison Central class that is working through all of this, and they're going to explain a little bit about the book tonight. All right. Anybody have any
Thank you,
questions
thank you,
for
thank you.
me?
Excited.
Yeah.
And that meeting, that gathering this evening?
Yes.
6:30?
6:30.
It is open to the public? Someone asked me earlier.
Open to the public. The sweet interns are chopping up broccoli and celery right now. We're going to have refreshments over there, but it's going to be a great night and a great time to celebrate these folks that definitely deserve the honor.
Lori, talk to us a little bit about your new position.
Oh, sure. So, 2009 was a difficult time for tourism. We changed how we operated with the city. We started to become completely a standalone organization. In 2016 and 17, we came completely alone by ourselves. So at that time, we had 3 full-time staff. We had had as many as 5 full-time staff before. But the board and myself and Jeannie that worked with me at the time made the decision that we were not going to fill that 3rd position because we needed to hold those funds for ourselves and we needed to do other things. So from 2017 till 2023, that 3rd position, social media, that's been filled by me. And it has been difficult to do all of that. I say this not to brag, but I do work 60, 70 hours a week. I work at night, the weekends, and to be able to get it all done. And I finally convinced my board to fill this position in 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020. So that did not occur, but we've been able to build the funds up to be able to hire this position. The young lady that I'm talking about is one of our interns. She is from Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I have had the opportunity to work with her for the past 8 months, and she is an absolute jewel. This book wouldn't have happened without her. I am not type A, and she is. So it is a perfect combination of keeping me on track and making sure that we get things done. But digital marketing is where it's at. We still do some print advertisements, but, they're working on search engine optimization and everything that we can do. But I think she's going to be a wonderful asset to our team. And she's also going to help the battlefield because we help with their marketing as well. But Stacy, I will bring her to the next meeting so you all can meet her.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Anything further?
I just had 2 quick things, Lori. These look amazing.
Thank you.
And it's one of those things that you look at them and you think, well, that looks good. It had, it was probably just kind of easy to do. Oh, my goodness, no. It takes an amazing amount of work to come up with a publication like these 2 are. So kudos to you and your team. They look really, really
Well,
nice.
it's the committee members. The committee members were so excited. I spent yesterday with my Valentine driving to Nicholasville to get these in time. And when we got back to Richmond at about 8 o'clock last night, Gary Nolan and Sharon Mitchell were at the doorstep because they were so excited to have them. So they were able to pass those out to committee members last night. And they actually, some more committee members have been there this morning. So that's the team that really, they have worked immensely. Donna Kavanaugh, Judy Greenmaker, they've all.
Lori, you and your people do good work.
Well,
You've
thank
always
you.
done
Thank
good
you.
work.
No, we love what we do. David and I and Stacy and Sydney, we love to tell stories. We love to tell funny stories and getting to do that all day to people that, all you all have heard our stories, our visitors haven't. So they're excited to hear what we have to say.
Yeah, just a quick question too. You referenced in your new role as president of, help
Yes.
me,
KACVB.
And what's that stand for?
Kentucky Association of Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Okay, so I think you mentioned that they were coming in September. Is that what you said, to Richmond?
Yes.
How can we help you to roll out the red carpet with your group?
Well, I would just love for you to be there. Mindy was able to hang out with us years ago when they were here, I think in 2017. But we plan to host, we're going to do a trivia night, and then we're going to have a really nice dinner at Linwood. So I would love for all of you all to be there. I'd love for them to get to meet you. I think it's a great compliment to all of us that Kentucky League of Cities, when we talk about tourism, you know, they ask Richmond to talk about it, and they are so thankful, and I think they're proud of the relationship that we have together. So I would love for all the other tourism directors to get to meet you all and see you. And
We'll do our best to be there.
okay, bourbon tasting all around,
That's
right?
right.
Okay, perfect. Rob said he was going to sing and juggle and anything else that I'm on.
I'm coming just for that.
Well, thank you all very much,
Thank
and
you for
I
all
look
you
forward to
do
seeing
and
you
do so
tonight.
well, certainly.
Thank
And
you.
to those board members, they do a tremendous job, are very engaged in what is happening in the area of tourism. I even had one or two persons who've asked if there was a slot they could fill because they'd like to work with this board. So that's a good sign when folks want to do that. These are outstanding, Lori. I'm excited about this evening. And let me add a couple of things that, so they will know. Mr. City Manager, please.
Right across the hallway, Tim is facilitating the pickleball court bid opening. So we'll get those bids later today, and you should see an order for approval on the 27th meeting, and then we'll get it scheduled together for the Lake Reba pickleball courts. Mayor Blythe and I had the honor of hosting Congressman Andy Barr last week for an hour discussion on all kinds of good issues. And he's very supportive, very aware of what we're doing here in Madison County. He did want me to let people know that if they wanted to talk to somebody from his office, Craig Shockley is available the second Monday of every month from noon to 1 at the library.
Thank you for
So
mentioning that.
if you want to get to Congressman Barr, you can visit Craig at the library up here, second Monday, noon to 1. And then the only other thing I have is Monday, City Hall will be closed for President's Day. I sent you all an update this week, so I don't have much to tell y'all.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for mentioning that about Congressman Barr, and his office will be available. They ordinarily would have been available at the courthouse, but because of the construction project, they said we're going to move to the library for anybody that wants to bring up any issue. And I'll mention it again, but have the unmitigated gall to come here and ask us if we needed any money. You think, wow,
Yes.
don't know what for. Yes.
Yes.
You say yes those times. Commissioner Goble?
I'm good.
All right, Commissioner Newby?
I don't have anything coming from me, but I would like to take this moment to make a motion that after we get through with our comments, to go into executive session in reference to KRS 61-810-1F, which is personnel.
Personnel.
I'd like to make that motion.
We have, Madam Clerk, a motion from Commissioner Newby that we will amend the agenda to include that once the Board of Commissioners discussion ends, we shall go into executive session according to KRS as quoted by him
I'll
regarding
second.
personnel.
I'll
Second.
second it.
Second from Commissioner Brewer. Is there, Madam Clerk, please?
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel,
Yes.
Mayor Blige.
Yes, thank you. Anything else, Commissioner Newby?
No.
Is it Commissioner Cole?
My heart and mind is clear.
Okay, private joke.
Yes, it's clear.
Commissioner Brewer?
Since you all brought up Andy Barr's name, maybe we could get with him and kind of help out Madison Homes reach their goals and their expectations. We could use ARPA money or something along that effect. I would like to get an update on that facility if we could.
It's funny you bring that up. I met with Jamie Jordan and Melissa Sloan this week. So we're working on some plans to the building. We thought the state would approve what they had done. They didn't. They kicked it back to us. So we're getting a punch list of items that we need to get done for the building. I should have that in the next month, next 30 days. And we'll have a budget amendment in March, and I'll probably propose earmarking some funding for Madison Home to get that building compliant. And really, to be honest with you, don't mean to carry on here, but you know, the ARPA funds have to be earmarked this year and spent
Right.
by 2026. We might consider earmarking funds for Madison Home through
That's what I
2026.
thought we could do.
Yeah, so I'll propose that to you when we get to the budget amendment.
That's it.
I'm going to say something, well, it's my turn anyway, but I want to say something about that further. I had the occasion last night, for the first time, to go into Madison Homes facility while it was open to admit to folks who were without a place to stay. And I was very impressed with the volunteers, with how they treat an 18-year-old fella had gotten deserted here. He'd been dismissed from the detention center. His folks were coming from Michigan to pick him up, and he happened to see the light on where I serve otherwise, and stopped by and asked if he could get some help to get some place to stay, and we made a call to Madison Home, and they took him in, and let him stay there, gave him bags of goodies and foods and so on. So
They have over 30 churches that rotate and over 100 volunteers.
Yes, yes.
And
I
they're
was
doing a
super
great job.
impressed.
They're on their money.
Yeah.
And with the clean facility and the organized fashion in which they handled that young man was very impressive. It speaks very highly, very highly. A couple of things very quickly. I just returned yesterday afternoon from a meeting with HUD in Bowling Green for the Kentucky Housing Association, and very productive, very, very productive with respect to public housing and Section 8 housing. A great deal of information, and HUD set up an actual table there where you could speak with them about any matter directly. The state director was there, and the person who handles our portfolio here was there, so it's a really good opportunity. Let's see. Let me say this about a matter that we have touched on just briefly, and with anticipation of continuing, but there was that discussion of a regional project. Scott Fayette, Madison, Richmond, Berea, and Clark, who I think initially was involved, but that discussion continues. You might notice that I've not reported, except that I did sit in on one call about 3 weeks ago. Those discussions continue. We had actually asked so that we can officially make a statement regarding our position. We had asked the consultant or a consultant to come and share with us so we could hear details and that kind of thing, and then decide. Well, I do want you to know that I can't even talk. That discussion continues, and they're actually at a place, the other entities, of putting together a legal document that says what the relationship will be between each. Had we had the opportunity to have that consultant to come as we had requested initially, we probably would be further along in deciding how to, respond and then do that officially. But I've mentioned time and time again that while we have some things going on, and you heard about some of the industrial possibilities, while we have some things going on, we will very carefully even consider the possibility of doing anything else. And there are a couple of other reasons. We'll discuss those in our private discussions, but just want you to know those discussions continue. I need to slow down, Jim.
Mayor, we did invite the consultant to attend today.
Yes, sir.
And he couldn't, but we do have him on the agenda for the 27th.
Thank you, sir. Yes, so just know that the discussion hasn't dropped, but we want to, and we're being pressed. You might have noticed that the city of Berea has moved forward to a certain extent, with not a tremendous commitment, but have moved forward, and the mayor there stays in touch. Okay, we move the visit by the consultant. Let's see, Laurie, just a quick question. When we were discussing the ordinance or order, are we moving in the right direction now with respect to short-term rentals that helps the board there to do what it needs to do? Super. Just keep us posted, please. If we need to do something else, we can put something maybe in place. The city manager did mention that a few days ago, we had the opportunity, along with Laurie, to meet with a new lodging prospect. It isn't really secret. There is a sign on the property there behind Holiday Inn Express, True, out there off Amberley Way, off Hampton Way. And so they're moving forward with great diligence. There will be a new hotel there, which will help us, I'm sure, at the time. As Laurie would appreciate, all a classic and such as that when folks have to go other places in central Kentucky to lodge. And let's see, I believe that's it for mine. Chief, I feel we're being besieged. Is there something going on that? Oh,
We've got a swearing in.
Swearing in.
Yes.
thank you, sir.
What'd you think?
As I said, we're besieged. I wasn't sure what was happening.
Did my college years finally catch up with me?
You need a motion to go into.
Let's see here
executive
now. I
session?
think that's all of us. We'll have a motion, please, to go into executive session according to the KRS as presented by Commissioner Newby with regard to personnel. Have a motion, please.
So move.
Commissioner Brewer,
Second?
Commissioner Goble. Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Brewer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Goble,
Yes.
Commissioner Newby,
Yes.
Mayor Blythe.
Yes, thank you. Those who are here in the chambers, if you'll give us a few minutes, we'll adjourn to a conference room across the hall. We'll be right back as quickly as possible.
election-in process, which means that we have to opt into the Uniform Residential Landlord-Tenant Act. And without it, we are subject to common law principles of equity and law. The Uniform Residential Landlord-Tenant Act does a number of great things. It defines what a security deposit is, defines what unconscionable is, it defines good faith. It places a good faith obligation on landlords and tenants in what maintaining their rights and responsibilities are for renting their homes and keeping up their homes. It has an unconscionability clause, and it outlines what a notice is for landlords and tenants. For example, in KRS 383.570, the Uniform Residential Landlord-Tenant Act prevents landlords from being able to include an attorney's fees clause. So if they were to get an attorney for any reason whatsoever, the landlord is not able to make the tenant pay for those fees. KRS 383.580 outlines exactly what a landlord is responsible for versus what tenants are responsible for when it comes to security deposit, including an itemized list to the tenant of what damages they will be taking out of the deposit, the time frame to return the deposit, what the tenant may dispute, and the notice requirement for how much they will be reimbursing back to the tenant out of the security deposit. It requires disclosure notices for the landlord, and in KRS 383.595, it sets out requirements for the landlords in the maintenance of the unit. Did you know that under common law, landlords are not required to provide habitable housing that's up to current code for the housing law? Under the common law principles, the landlord is only obligated to the terms agreed upon in the lease. So if the landlord says that they're only allowed to give you a week's notice to evict you from your tenant or from your tenancy agreement, they're allowed to do so, and there's no recourse for tenants under common law. Under common law, there's no mention of a security deposit because the case law dates back as far as the 1920s, which I don't know if y'all are aware, but security deposits weren't exactly a thing back then. So unless you have somebody who's willing to do hours of research to try and find some sort of recourse and options for tenants, there just really isn't any in the city. Out of all the counties and cities in Kentucky, only 19 counties and 33 cities have enacted the Uniform Residential
I was
Landlord.
going to ask that question.
Yes, sir. There's only 19 and 33 total, including cities and counties. And I would strongly encourage us to become one of those because it only protects both landlords and tenants, and it outlines exactly what those responsibilities are, and it protects people so that way they have heat in the wintertime. They have clean housing. They don't have to move into a unit and then are required to bring that building up to code in order to stay in that place. As I said, over half of our population here in the city rents, and for us not to have the Uniform Residential Landlord-Tenant Act is a big oversight that we need to rectify, sir.
Attorney Kitchens, just one quick question, and then we'll move. Do you happen to have access to, for example, the list of those communities? Did you bring it with you today, and something we can duplicate for the commission just to take a look at, and the reference to the citation of the Uniform Landlord-Tenant Act, just so that we can have some, without having to do a lot of research to get it, one of the commissioners do.
I don't have it on me, but I'll be happy to
If you don't
supply.
mind, just getting it to us, and we can
Absolutely.
take a look at it. May want to talk with you further.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate your coming, appreciate your accommodating our schedule also.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, indeed. All right. I think all hearts and minds are clear at this point. Madam Clerk, is there anything else that's come across the desk that we need to?
No, sir. Thank you.
There being nothing further, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Commissioner Cole,
Second.
Commissioner Newby, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Goble?
Yes.
Commissioner Newby?
Yes.
Commissioner Brewer? Mayor Blythe?